I've got another connected dash cam to show you guys. So let's go through all the features and see how it stacks up. So here it is. This is the PureCam DashCam, which, as you can see here, this is the actual camera. This is the power cord, as it is. Plugs into your data port on your vehicle. Suction cup to the windshield. The camera, both the interior, the inside-facing camera, which is obviously facing the same way as the display, and then your front-facing camera. Now, you essentially adjust the display so that the camera on the interior is matching up to fill out exactly what you're looking to do. And then the exterior camera you can actually adjust up and down a little bit, so that way if you have to adjust the camera here, you can adjust the outside camera separately from the inside camera so you get the right angle, essentially. There is a memory card slot on the top, as well as there is a SIM card. It does come with a 32 gig SanDisk Ultra card, which I think I have over there pulling the stuff off for me. And then right in the middle is the micro USB port, which is what actually powers it. And then it comes with the data power, so it doesn't have to take up a USB slot or your cigarette lighter slot. And you can basically hide the cables. That's one of the really nice features about using that data port, other than the fact that it's constant feed rather than maybe on and off with the key, because there is no battery in this, so it can't work without actually being plugged in. The menu system on this, essentially there are 4 buttons, and I can actually let me bring it in real quick. So you can see here what the screen would look like. It's a fairly large screen with the camera. And then on the side, there's basically a digital directional pad with an OK button in the middle. This is my least favorite thing in the entire thing. So this menu button is absolutely terrible in my opinion. You can't see it. You know, obviously driver's side in the United States at least, you shouldn't be operating this while you're driving anyway. But if you're parked and you're going to change settings, doing it from this, you have no idea what button you're hitting unless you know what it is, or if you really lean over to find it. Now, if you're the passenger, you can see it, but it's still a pain in the butt, because it's even probably on the camera, it's hard to see what those buttons are. This should be a touchscreen. Absolutely should be a touchscreen. So, PureGear, if you're listening to this video, please make this a touchscreen and get rid of this horse. Yeah, I'm not going to say it. Because that's what this should be. So that's the device itself. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually change over to on the road. And I'm going to actually explain what I like and don't like while I'm actually driving, so in the vehicle while using the actual device. And you're going to actually hear what the microphone sounds like this, because that's what we're going to use, and what the video quality is. 720p, it's going to be a little bit lower resolution than this. Obviously, this is 4K. This set as well, there are going to be some black flashes when it's basically transferring from one clip to the next. I wish I would have known that before I did this, because then I would have transferred to a longer clip size, because you can do that in the menu. But of course, while you're driving, getting to the menu is you shouldn't do it anyway, but not easy. You can use the app. It's a lot easier through the app, because you're using a touchscreen. This should be a touchscreen. So that's it. I digress. But enjoy this next little while. While we're using the actual camera within here as well. Yeah, we'll come back after that. So now I'm going to talk about the use of the camera here while I'm driving. How I like it while I'm actually in the vehicle, things I like, things I don't like, things like that. One, the placement of the camera. The nice thing about it, obviously, being up right behind the mirror as I have it, or kind of just below it, is it's easy to see. The problem with that is the display is just not a very good display for displaying in sunlight. So when it's bright out, and even today, it's not bright at all. It's completely cloudy. There is not the sun in the sky. I can't see it. I really have a hard time seeing it, even though I've cranked it up to its brightest. Now, if I crank it up to its brightest while I'm in the menu, it is brighter, and I can kind of see it, but then it automatically dims back down. So I'm not going to be playing with the menu very frequently, and I shouldn't be playing with the menu while I'm actually driving. So it's one of those things to actually bring up. You can kind of see here how dim it is while driving. Also, the fact of the matter is that it is a larger display, which I do like. I do like that it's a larger display. However, because it's a larger display and its placement directly below the mirror now I actually have a little bit of a blind spot almost. And it's not substantial, it really isn't. But it is a couple times where actually when I was looking back over, and the person that was actually in the crosswalk walking disappeared. Now I knew they were there, I saw them before. However, I can see where that could potentially become an issue. So it's something to bring up and something to be aware of when you place something like this that's this large in the vehicle. The one big thing I really don't like is the menu. I hate the menu. I think it's terrible. I hate the menu buttons. And it's all the way on the side over here, and I'd have to literally be in the passenger seat to see it. Now, of course, as a driver, I should not be playing with the menu while I'm driving. However, as a driver, and I'm the only one driving, to set up or change things, even from a parked standpoint, it's a pain in the butt to deal with the buttons. And if you go to the installation part that I did on this camera, it's just the menu's just not very good. This is one thing I think the PureGear could easily fix if they really just put their money into research and development of creating a better menu system. So that's one of those things that I definitely wanted to bring up. Quality of the video is not bad, specifically the interior camera. The night vision capability of it is better than any other interior facing camera that I've ever actually witnessed here, that I've actually used myself. So big hats off to you on that. I think you have one of the best interior cameras. The exterior camera is also pretty sweet as well. You know, of course, whether or not you can see the actual license plate, we're going to actually play back some footage and see how good we can actually read the license plates, because that's one of those big things you definitely want to look in for, because it's kind of one of those things that you'll find other cameras don't do very well. And so if you can find a camera that actually does record and film and actually be able to pick up and read the license plate itself while they're driving by, big plus in that regard, in my opinion. So that's something to definitely take a peek at as well. But there are some nice features. Now we're going to go in and start talking about how fast it is when it comes online for after, you know, basically in security mode when the light is blinking on the dash. Essentially, how long does it take before it actually is capturing the video when somebody's trying to break into your car, or more frequently, to be honest, somebody accidentally hits your car while it's in a parking lot, or you know, bumps it or something like that, and you want to know what the heck happened. Well, I think this is one area where it completely loses out on. So we're going to go to that next. So yeah, let's head over to that. So first, when it's actually in security mode, you'll see a slight blue light that kind of blinks, which is obviously hard here. I'm in my garage. I'm trying to make it as dark as possible so we can actually see how this works best, or how it works in low lit situations. So let me change the camera position. So it's going to be harder for you to see because it is so dark. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jiggle the door. I'm going to start counting immediately after I jostle the door so that we know how much time before we actually see or actually understand the video feed. So as soon as I'm going to open, shut, and then open it again, and I'm going to start counting right then. So that'll be like if somebody broke the window or whatever. So ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we'll actually see exactly how that comes out. So I thought I'd show you real quick what the PureCam app actually looks like. I wasn't at first, but I'm going to do this real quick so they can see my PureCam, which is one. It shows you a listing of the videos by date, as far back as you can go. So it looks like as far back as I can go. Let's find out. Looks like the 13th of March, so almost a month actually. I can look at my vehicle itself. So let's see, swipe to change camera views. So there's the interior. If I swipe, there's the exterior. Obviously it's pretty dark, so it's not going to be hard to see that. That's the playback function. I can go to the DVR, which is the actual feed there. If I go to the settings, I can change settings. Inside the quality of the cameras. Interior camera 720p, exterior at 1080, which is the highest it can do. I can change settings, all the settings on the camera. I can format the card. So about 4 seconds. That's what it actually takes to actually, when it feels a vibration or something, to actually jostle it to be awake out of that sleep mode, till you actually see what it's recording. So there's about 4 seconds missed there. Not terrible. To be honest, there's been a couple times when I actually got in the car and I didn't see any video feed on the actual monitor itself until, I would say, a good 10, maybe plus seconds. But that obviously doesn't mean that it's not recording. So at 4 seconds, in this case, you can see exactly what happened. Excuse me. And you know, if you're really worried about protecting against something that's sitting on my seat, somebody breaking the glass, grabbing it, it's not going to do you any good. In 4 seconds, they're long gone, basically. But if you're worried about somebody getting in, jostling, going through your stuff or whatever, or you know what have you, it can work, and it will give you an alert. However, at least in my area, like I said, in here, I don't have the best T-Mobile service. And it takes a little time before I actually get the alert on my phone saying that something's going on. Now, it's not like half an hour. It's like a minute or two. So it's not immediate. It's not sending it out immediately where I get it right away saying, hey, there's an alert. Sometimes it can take 30, 60 seconds, sometimes a little longer than that for me. So take that with a grain of salt for what it's worth. But yes, is it a security camera system? It is. But I wouldn't call it that, because the first thing I would do if I was somebody that was jumping in there and I saw that thing coming to life, I'm ripping it off the dash. I'm literally ripping it, and it's going to yank the power cord out, and it's done, right? So you may get an alert, you may not. I don't know when it sends it, and when, obviously from when I receive it. So that's something just to take into account in this specific review. So yeah. Send information. So emergency, you can actually have it email you if there was an emergency. Let's see, and then change your language. So lots of all the settings are in here. It's simple on here. It's a lot easier on the app than it is on the device. If it was a touchscreen on the device, it'd be substantially better. So before I wrap things up in the car, knowing now what I know about the security and all the things that I had an inkling of yesterday, you know, how long that lapse is. It wasn't quite as long of a lapse in terms of the security point as I originally thought. So that's definitely better than what I was. But, you know, what it is, one of the things I really, really dislike is, while there is a memory card in here, I do love that. I like being able to take the memory card and just jam it into a computer or wherever. You can't really jam this into a mobile device because everything is formatted, photos at least you can, but the videos are formatted in .ts, which your computer can read just fine. And like with my Mac, I was just basically opening them up in QuickTime and saving them as a MOV or a .mov. That's stupid, in my opinion. They should be able to be accessed. Now, I'm sure there's a reason for it that I'm not aware of, and I'm sure somebody's going to correct me for it. But you know, you put that in a device and it doesn't know what to do with it. You have to have a device that can read .ts. So something to bring up. But that's one thing that I noticed that I didn't like as much. Not a big deal because it's very easy to transfer or re-encode, I guess. Just change the encoding, so not too difficult there. But I'm going to go back to myself in the car to wrap and basically have the last word using it while driving. So I figured we'd close in the car while I'm driving, heading home from work. What are my actual thoughts on this? Well, I think it's a good attempt. And I think it would have been better, I think, in my specific circumstance, because it is a T-Mobile LTE product, and there is not the best T-Mobile service where I am. Now, it is 4G here, actually, and I do have LTE service. It's just nowhere near as reliable as Verizon or AT&T, even, or Sprint. It's Verizon and Sprint more than anything else in my specific area, just so you understand where I'm coming from. But it's just, if I would compare this to another product that I've had in the past, the OwlCam, which, don't get me wrong, there are takebacks and things that are better on this than there are on the OwlCam, and there are things from the OwlCam that I like better than there are on this. So there's no perfect product. I really have a hard time saying that there's any perfect product on the market. But the big thing about this one is, I think there's a lot of things that could have been done better, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go in the future. I do like the larger display, but to be honest about it, I'd rather than put the camera on the top of the display and mount it lower on the dash so that it's out of my viewing display up here at head level. I don't care if it's down there on dash level. If it's up here, it's being more of a distraction in my personal opinion. The camera array, keep the interior camera. That camera is awesome. the cameras in general I have nothing big against them, but you know, the placement. I don't like running the wire up. I'd rather run it down. It's easier to run it that way, to be honest, as well. Yes, you have to do a little bit different in terms of how you mount the camera, but that's something that's obviously others have already figured that out, so it's not a big deal in that regard. So yeah, there are some things that I definitely would change, and there are definitely some things that I would keep the same. Scrap the menu system, get rid of that side button thing, do a touchscreen. It would be so much easier with a touchscreen. I'd like to be able to, you know, to modify things more easily without using that darn 4-button array on the side of the thing that I can't see without actually dipping way over to the edge. So there's a lot of things that I would change. I really would. Is it a decent product? It is a decent product. Specifically with dash cams, you let them go, and you know, the timestamp works good. Everything works good on this for the most part. The user interface is terrible, but I have a hard time saying that I paid $200 for it, if I'm going to be strictly honest about it. I think once they get a few things maybe lined up with this a little bit better, the next version, maybe a touchscreen, better display that's actually brighter. You know, I understand that they dim it down so it's not a distraction, but if I can't see it and I can barely see it, it's almost more of a distraction to me than if it was a blaring TV, essentially. So things in and out, right? Everybody has their own regard, and of course you can turn off the display as well, but that's neither here nor there. So thanks for watching the video. Please comment, subscribe, let me know what you think of it. If you have ever seen this, or if you know anybody that has this specific product, let me know what you think of it, or send it over to them so they can see the video and make a comment as well. Subscribe to the channel if you can, appreciate it. But thanks for stopping by, thanks for watching. Catch you back here on Tech Gooch for another video review. We'll see you soon.